It's now my pleasure to introduce our next speaker in this series of Standing Up for Freedom Around the Globe, for Mariam Al-Khawaja. It's with great pleasure that I stand before you today to introduce a truly remarkable individual who has dedicated her life to the pursuit of freedom and justice. Mariam Al-Khawaja, a name that resonates with the spirit of activism and the relentless pursuit of justice. Born into a family deeply committed to advocating for human rights in Bahrain, Mariam has carried on her father's fight, Abdul-Hadi Al-Khawaja, a Danish Bahraini activist now imprisoned in Bahrain since 2011. And she's also a freedom fighter in her own right. From a very young age, Mariam understood the power of activism and the urgent need to challenge systems that trample upon the rights of individuals. Her unwavering dedication to her principles led her to the forefront of the Bahraini human rights movement. So please join me in giving a warm welcome to Mariam.
Thank you, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here with all of you today. This morning, you all sat here and you heard people talk about the importance of protecting democracy, how freedom is important, and how accountability and justice is crucial. And my question is always, for whom? What to the Palestinians is democracy as they mark the 75th year of Nakba today, living under occupation and apartheid? What to Ala in Egypt and thousands of other prisoners of conscience is freedom? What to the people and the populations living in the Gulf Cooperation Council countries is freedom as they continue to receive weapons and support from the West? What to Michael Brown and Breonna Taylor is freedom as they live in systems that are supposed to protect them and yet target them? And what to the Syrians is accountability when we look at the reaction from the world when Putin bombed and attacked Ukraine, but we did not see the same response as Putin bombed Syrian civilians for years? And finally, what to the Iraq war victims is accountability and justice so many years later, where we have yet to see any accountability and justice? My father, who was supposed to be behind you, but is not, my father, as you can see on the screen now, is Abdul-Hadi Al-Khawaja. He is a man who dedicated his life to fighting for human rights, democracy, and justice. He was beaten unconscious in front of my family. He was then dragged away, kept in incommunicado detention, and then he was severely tortured physically, psychologically, and sexually. Why? Because he dared to speak up. He dared to speak truth to power in a country that does not want to hear the truth. And he is the only Danish prisoner of conscience in the world today. 12 years later, I am still standing on stages asking people to act. Because unfortunately, when it comes to fighting for democracy and justice and freedom and accountability, when it comes to the Gulf, our double standards are glaring. Because we look at the Gulf and instead of seeing populations who deserve freedom and liberty and justice just like every single person in this world, we see oil and we see economic deals and we see opportunities for selling weapons. My father taught me something very important, and it's part of the reason why I am a human rights defender today. He told me, you either stand for justice everywhere or not at all. Because when you practice the fight for justice only halfway, when you have double standards as to who deserves democracy and freedom versus not, when we decide that some human lives are more important than others, that is where we fail. And that is where we will not be able to change the systems that be or change the world that we live in to make it a better place for all of us. Human rights defenders and civil society are crucial to democracies. We cannot have vibrant, real democracies without human rights defenders and civil society. And so why are we not doing more to protect those who are willing to put themselves on the line to fight for the rest of us so that we can live in a better world? Why is it that someone like my father, like Ala, like so many others, thousands of people sitting in prison cells today, why is it that they continue to sit in prison cells while we continuously make deal after deal with their governments that silence them, that torture them, and that put them in prison, and at times that kill them? When a government stands before you and tells you, we care about human rights and democracy, when they tell you that justice and accountability is the cornerstone of our foreign policy, ask not how well they apply it to their to their enemies, but ask how well they apply it to their allies. Because that's where you know whether those governments actually truly hold those standards and principles within their foreign policy, in their practice. So what I'm here to ask today, and you heard this in other speeches as well, together we are stronger. But until we eliminate the double standards, until we eliminate the hypocrisy that exists, including in spaces like these, when we talk about democracy and justice and accountability, we need to make sure that we're talking about it in a way so that it applies to everyone and not just the few. When we talk about the importance of data protection and digital rights and making sure that voices are heard, then we need to be talking about every voice in the room and not just a select few. And so what I ask of you today, for the future of us, for the future of the future generations, for the future of the people of this world, protect civil society, protect human rights defenders. And if we here in Denmark, and I'm speaking here also as a Danish citizen, if we here in Denmark cannot protect someone like my father, if he continues to sit in a prison cell 12 years later, then how can we even pretend to defend human rights defenders around the world? Thank you.